Morning Facebook, how are we? I am currently making coffee, so I thought I would do a very quick little video from inside our kitchen. Very glamorous, as you can see. So yesterday, I spent a whole day with Michael Primrose, who is a very good commercial broker, and after we did the live Q&A with you guys yesterday morning, Michael and I had a very long meeting. Now, I put in offers all the time on different houses and sites and various other things. And one of the things that you have to get comfortable with in this world is that we get told no a lot. Yeah, it's fine. I'm comfortable with being told no. What I'm less comfortable with is being told no, but not really understanding why. Yeah. So what I want to understand, the reason I spent some time with Michael yesterday was because what I wanted to look at was how I was analysing my deals and whether or not I was missing a trick on some of the smaller development work that I was doing. So Justin and I are focusing on sourcing development plots at the minute for 10 units and below. So what that means is 10 houses and below will be built on that site by the end of the project, right? So 10 units and below. Now, when you're dealing at that level, you have to be really quite tight on the numbers to be able to compete with the other people in the market that are offering on it, of which there is huge competition. You know, there's a lot of us. We've all got access to the same sites. England is England. It's not that huge. And so you need to make sure that you're calculating the numbers in the way that works for you so that you can make the profits that you need. So I have a standard formula that we use when we're calculating a development site and what offer we can make on a development. And yesterday, what Michael and I did was work to actually understand whether or not some of the costs that I was factoring in were maybe a little bit over egging the situation. Now, we always need to have contingencies in there. You always need to make sure that you are considering worst case scenarios. I don't want you to think that what we're doing is chasing numbers. We're not. What we did yesterday is we really looked at my financial analysis and looked at borrowing costs. So when you have a development site, okay, the likelihood is that you are going to need to borrow, morning Tina, morning Dave, you're going to need to borrow the funds to be able to do the build. So that's to pay your builder to actually build the site, you're going to need to borrow that money, yeah? What you're probably also going to need to do, unless you can secure something on an option basis, you are going to need to borrow the money to physically buy the site, so to transact with the vendor to buy that site in the first place. So you've got two key chunks of money that you need to find from somewhere. Now, you could find that from lenders like banks, you could find it from crowdfunding, you could find it from private investment, but whichever way you choose to fund your deals, you need to be able to borrow the money, okay? And that means you need to be able to pay the interest to the people that are lending you it, because otherwise why would they lend you it, right? So I basically have been working on the worst case scenario of lending. So generally speaking, we understand that private investors are probably the most expensive way to borrow money. You know, we generally look at about between 10% and 12% a year, depending on the build time and things like that. That would obviously extrapolate out. Morning, Adam. Morning, Robert. How are you? And so what we looked at yesterday is really making sure that my financial analysis calculator was really dead on. So if you apply 1% to every month of the project, actually what I was doing, I was over-egging the interest that I was going to have to pay by quite a substantial amount. And whilst it's great to have those contingencies in there, you know, we've lost out on a couple of deals recently by about 50 grand, and that's really frustrating. And I think had I just dived a little deeper on the financials, we might have got those sites. So this opportunity for me was a great one. You know, developments, I don't make any secret about this, developments is a reasonably new part of our business. And whilst we have lots of fun and we've done a few and it's all good fun, I need to make sure that the numbers are coming in. And I know the strategy and the calculations, like I know rent to rent. You know, rent to rent, I could probably do it with my eyes shut. I could probably look at a house and tell you what the numbers look like without really even thinking about it. That takes time to get to that point. So with the development side of things, I feel like I'm always learning lots, and that is the important part of having your key board members, your key power team around you, like your brokers, your project managers, your contractors, and people like that you can talk to actually get the answers on this stuff. So we looked at a deal yesterday, Michael and I looked at a deal yesterday that we'd offered on and we'd had rejected, and whilst we couldn't offer masses amounts more, What we were able to do was offer more. And for me, that would have made a difference potentially to whether we got accepted or not accepted. So the point of this video this morning, whilst I'm waiting for my kettle to boil, which it is now boiled, so I can get coffee, which is always good, is that when you're doing the numbers, that's so important to really think about every aspect of what you're considering, making sure that you are factoring in things like the interest in the right ways, making sure you're factoring in things like your build cost in the right ways, making sure you're factoring in your contingencies in the right way, making sure you're factoring in all these different things. You know, Andy and Lloyd, who's, you know, again, you guys know, they're my mentors from the development side of things. They have a really good way of doing these calculations, and I think what I've learned yesterday by just spending the day talking in a bit more detail about the financial side and not just the build side, I was able to really fill a bit of a gap. And now I've got sites that I can go and offer on that are on the table that as of yesterday, I would have been offering this price or one price. Now today I can offer slightly more, and for me that's going to make a massive difference. So I just wanted to share that with you. I think what I learned from spending the day with my broker is that actually there is ways sometimes that you can find more money in the deal if you just go slightly more granular and slightly more detailed. So sometimes it's worth the time to do that. All you need to do is actually work out how and find out how. So if anyone's got any questions, obviously holler. But I'm going to go and drink my coffee now because I haven't had a coffee yet today, so my brain is not switched on, and then we are going to get on with a great day. Have an amazing day, everybody. I hope that it's sunshiny everywhere for you and the rain holds off, and I will speak to you later.